And I know that Duppy's is real. Well, if you didn't know, after this, you sure will. This story is set in the village of East End during the time that people used to have to cut grass by hand. Now, the man that was really good at that was Mr. Barry. Mr. Barry cut people's grounds, and he cut it so fast. Everybody marveled at how quickly he could clear a whole grounds for planting. And people started to talk. How him one could go up on cliff late afternoon and cut acres and acres of bush and come back down way before midnight. And you know, when people start to talk, rumors start to walk. So I hear about Mr. Barry, and I calls myself an investigator. My mama say I just like to be up in people's business, but she a real hater. So I decided I am going to get to the bottom of this here story. So the next day, I finish all my baking early and sneak up on he outside kitchen to peep in the window. You know, the ones where the window could push up and you catch with a little stick? Them same ones. And I peep right in. I see Mr. Barry up in there cooking one whole cauldron full of rice. Him one living in that house. What he need all of that rice for? So I watch and I watch till I see him take every bit of that rice, throw it in a ground basket, put that basket strap around his forehead, and up the cliff he gone. So me now saying I need to further investigate. I said I go and follow behind him. So I go in, and I don't want him to see me, As he step, I step. As he step, I step. Every rock he step on, I step. And I hiding behind him. One time he stop, and I look back, and I had to small up myself behind a tree. It didn't quite work, but thank goodness he didn't see me. So I took off behind him again. As he step, I step. As he step, I step. And finally, we came to the land that he was going to clear. I hold back and hide behind a small secret tree. That time sun is setting, and I said to myself, but this don't even make no sense, because this man going to cut grass in the dark. But who am I to question? So I stay right where I am until he disappear out of sight. And the next thing I hear, chop, chop, chop. I say, oh yeah, he getting started. I inch up a little closer. And then I hear, chop, 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 chop. And I say, but one man can't be making all of that noise by himself. And that is when I creep up and peep through them bushes. And what do you think I saw? 12 machetes up in the air like this, chopping bush, chopping bush, chopping bush, and not a hand attached to a single one. Now that is when I knew they were Duppies. Now let me tell you, I took off and I did not run down that cliff. I rolled all the way to the bottom. I jump up and dust off myself, and I said to myself, Self, you can't tell nobody about this, because you sure don't want to be mixed up in no Duppy business. Oh no. So I heading home, minding my own business, when I run into Mr. Georgie. Buck my toe, and would you believe every bit of that story fall right out of my mouth? Now that is when rumors started. That spread like wildfire. From that day onward, every time that Mr. Barry were going up that cliff, you should see the line of people sitting on benches, smoking pipe, drinking rum, crocheting and patching clothes, watching him like they watching TV. Everybody whispering, see him there? He going up the cliff with them Duppies. Well, one evening, I right there with them drinking me a glass of swanky, watching too. We all see Mr. Barry going up the cliff, but I noticed something different. Mr. Barry never had the basket of rice with him. Boy, people started to wonder, what in the world could that mean? And you know that evening, Mr. Barry did not come back down. Everybody started making up stories about what may have happened and why he didn't come back. But not a single one of those brave stars that had sat there watching him go up would go and look for him. Not in the dark. So the next morning, they put together a search party. We made sure we had our conch shell to blow, and off we went to look for Mr. Barry. And what you think we found in the middle of the bush? Mr. Barry on the ground, curled up in the fetal position, naked as the day he born, and covered from head to toe with lashes from the side of them machetes. He had forget to take the rice to feed them Duppies, and they had whaled him up good and proper. Poor Mr. Barry. Thank the Lord he survived, but he wore them scars as a reminder to him of what kind of powers he had been playing with. And as for Mr. Barry, he never cut another blade of grass nor pulled up another weed for the rest of his life. But every evening, you can see him going up the side of that cliff with that ground basket full of rice to feed them Duppies. Because once you make a contract with a Duppy, it can never be broken. Wanna hear me?